The New York Knicks finished their record of 37-45, and they missed the play-in this year, which is a huge step back from what they did last season, which they made the playoffs as a top 4 seed. However, last year they did lose to Atlanta in the first round. But it was, things are finally looking up in New York. They finally made the playoffs. They had some young players who were playing well. And now this season they took a huge step back. So in this video, I put together 4 trades that are going to help improve New York Knicks roster moving forward. And it's also going to give them more direction as they move forward as well. So before I show you the 4 trades, let's hop into some statistics on their season. They ranked 26th in points per game, 6th in opponents' points per game, 30th in assists per game, 27th in shooting percentage, and 25 assist to turnover ratio. So their defense was stellar under Tom Thibodeau. Nothing new there. However, their offense was completely terrible. The shooting was terrible. Their playmaking was terrible. And they were just not a very good basketball team this year. But they have 3 options here. They can either improve their shooting to enter more of a win now mode. I think a couple shooters on this team will really improve their chances of becoming a playoff team again. Or do they trade for young assets and try to do a rebuild again? Or do they trade some young assets away and also trade away some bad contracts that they have in order to clear cap space to hopefully pull the New York Knicks thing and be like, hey, we're New York Knicks, come play for us, which hasn't really worked well for them in the past. But they are building a little bit of a better culture there, so maybe it's going to be more appealing to stars to go there. So those are the 3 main options that they have. So these trades, there's about 1 of each trade in each scenario. So the first trade I have is a trade that we've heard about in the media all along, and it's Donovan Mitchell going to the New York Knicks. So in this trade, I have Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gay going to New York Knicks in exchange for Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Cam Reddish, and I would have New York Knicks throwing in a first-round pick or possibly 2. I would be more leaning on the 2 side. So obviously for New York, you get a star in Donovan Mitchell, a star they've been meeting for quite some time. And then obviously if you trade for Donovan Mitchell, you're trying to win as many games as you can. So Rudy Gay is a nice veteran. And then on the other side, you have Evan Fournier, who was kind of in there for contract reasons. Still a pretty decent player and a decent shooter. RJ Barrett's obviously the main piece in this trade. He's played really well at the back half of last season. His trade value is at all-time high right now for him, and maybe you cash in on him now and try to include him in the Donovan Mitchell trade. Obi Toppin, nice young player, took a nice step this year as well, as long as winning the dunk contest, so he's going to sell you some tickets. And then you have Cam Reddish, who's a young asset who we're all just waiting on, to blossom and improve. We haven't seen it yet, but still too early to give up on him. And then 2 first-round picks from the Knicks is not a bad deal at all. So the next trade I have here, it moves the needle for them just a little bit because I think it improves their outside shooting. And that's trading Derrick Rose to the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for Lauri Markkanen, who's going to the New York Knicks in this trade. Now, in terms of the New York side, Lauri Markkanen, he's a 6'10", 3-4. He proved he can play the 3 in Cleveland, average about 14 points a game for them. And a great perimeter shooter, which is something that they need. And in terms of the Cleveland Cavaliers, they desperately need a backup ball handler besides Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, and that's where Derrick Rose comes in. But the problem with this trade is both of them are very injury plagued. Derrick Rose missed the second half of the season. Lauri Markkanen could barely play 5 games in a row without getting injured. So I think this helps both teams. Plus, the Knicks are kind of stuck with Kemba Walker, so I think you have no other choice but to play him, and you might as well give him Derrick Rose minutes because you're paying the guy. You might as well try to play him at least a little bit, and then you get a shooter in Lauri Markkanen. So I think it's a win-win for both teams here. You get a little younger with Lauri Markkanen too, as you trade away a vet and Derrick Rose. So this is the salary dump trade of the video here. So you have the New York Knicks getting Mike Muscala, and you have Oklahoma City Thunder getting Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker, and Obi Toppin. Maybe the Knicks can get a second-round pick or 2 out of this deal. But this is just, Evan Fournier is a bad contract. Kemba Walker's doesn't deserve that money. Obi Toppin is a nice player they're going to have to give away in order for this to work. Maybe the Knicks could trade a first-round pick instead of Obi Toppin's. The way the Knicks have been going recently, I don't know if it's wise to trade any first-round picks. So that's pretty much this trade. It's a salary dump for the Knicks and hopes to maybe landing a star this free agency. Maybe it's Zach LaVine. Who knows? And the final trade of the video, it feels like Ben Simmons makes my trade videos every single time I make them. So you have Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas, and Nick Claxton going to the Knicks in exchange for Julius Randle, Derrick Rose, and Nerlens Noel. Now, for New York Knicks side, this is obviously a trade to get younger. They get Ben Simmons, who hopefully will play for the New York in this situation. He'd be the primary ball handler at this point. And then you have Cam Thomas, who's a nice young shot creator for them. And Nick Claxton, again, another nice young big for them who can't hit a free throw to save his life. But then on the Brooklyn side, you get Julius Randle, who could be very good in a third option role behind, Kyrie and Kevin Durant, obviously. He was the main guy in the Knicks for 1 year, had a really, high, good year. People started to recognize that. I think they took him more serious this year. That's why some of his numbers are down. So maybe the Nets can have him fit right there at the power forward / center spot for them. Then you get Derrick Rose, another primary ball handler when Kyrie Irving misses games. And then you have Nerlens Noel, who's a very much needed big shot blocker rebounder for them. So I think it's a win-win for both trades. Do I think this one is realistic? I really don't think so, because for me it's the Ben Simmons Randall swap. I think it could work. I think it can blow up in both their faces. But then the other two pieces make sense for the swap in terms of if the Knicks want to go young and rebuild, trade some of their assets away. Maybe the Nets or the Knicks throw in a first-round pick here, but they're also taking on Ben Simmons' contract, which is a big question mark if he's going to play or not. So I think that's enough risk in order to unload Randall's contract as well in this deal. So thank you guys for watching the video. You have 2 more trade videos right here. Make sure you watch them. They're really dope. And I'll see you in the next video.